welcome to Untamed Conversations. I am LaShonda, and
it's my turn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm Brandon. Right?
Okay, how you doing? You know who you is. All
Today,
right.
yeah, I mean, but it's a different day every day. I mean,
so you don't know who you is today from tomorrow? You changed? Ooh,
that's why I'm in therapy now.
Oh, okay.
That's exactly why I'm in therapy now. You know, mental health is real.
Okay.
It is real.
So how's that going for you?
It's going. It's going. I think, you know, I haven't slapped nobody.
Okay, that's good.
I haven't like cussed nobody out, and I definitely think it's working because I feel like I'm strategizing a little bit better. I'm thinking before I react, you know? So it would take those that was around me before the therapy to kind of really answer that question, because they would be the one to say whether or not they can see the difference in, you know, maybe how my attitude was before versus how my attitude is now. What I personally say is just the way that I personally feel. I feel like therapy kind of helped me kind of unleash a lot of demons that, you know, your friends and family couldn't necessarily, you know, get out of you, you know, because sometimes when you're talking to a loved one or when you're talking to like just anybody that you know personally, you're kind of under attack mode, right?
You kind of reserved in what you're trying to say because you don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You don't know how they're going to respond to you, and it's just your truth.
That, or you just feel like they are kind of against you, so instead of you venting, you're kind of feeling like you gotta, I guess, give a lot of pushback. You know, it's almost like you're under attack. So, for instance, if you told me, you know, like, Brandon, I really think you need to work on the way you communicate. Well, if it's somebody personal to me, the first thing I'm going to say, well, maybe you need to work on the way you communicate. Or maybe is it maybe the way that you're saying it to me? But now I think that, you know, it's one of those things when I'm talking to, you know, a neutral party that I don't know, it's just a difference. Like, I think the brain just really slows down because this person is not a threat to you.
It's a safe space.
It's a safe space, right?
Okay.
So as I'm talking, you know, she's like, well, Brandon, you don't really listen. And I might say, if somebody else said that, I would have said, well, maybe you're not saying the right thing that I want to hear.
I feel like maybe I've told you that before. Like,
and that's my point.
You don't calm down
point.
enough to listen, but somebody else that would be on the outside didn't really know you, you wouldn't take it personal.
Right.
Because that to you, that's constructive criticism. To you, somebody that's your friend or family,
it's
that's
nagging.
not. It's nagging?
It's nagging. It's almost like in my mind, because you got to think, you know, sometimes when we're in that moment, you're not yourself. You know, you are a bunch of different things going on in your brain, but all things defensive. So either I'm thinking about you're under attack, you are attacking me, or you need to change, or how is someone gonna tell me how to fix myself? And I'm talking to somebody that got all these problems yourself. Like, I might be like, girl,
you can't fix broke.
You're right. You know, like, girl, you got your own issues. You know what I'm saying? You can't even get your kids together. You know, that's what I'm thinking. But with my counselor, on the other hand, I don't really know anything personal about her.
So there's nothing.
You know, there is nothing for me to be right. So when she
said,
said,
like you do that a lot.
What?
Like in a conversation, possibly when somebody talking to you, are you actively listening, or are you just ready for your retort because you know something else? Like if somebody triggers you when you're talking to them, are you immediately the first sign of them saying something to you that you don't like? And not just you personally, like anybody, but you know, the first time someone says something to you that you don't like, in your head, are you automatically thinking of a comeback to the person because you know them and you can literally attack them where it hurts, since they're not attacking you but you feel attacked? So is that why it would be defensive coming from you? Would be defensive if it was a friend or a family member talking to you versus somebody like a stranger?
I believe so. I think that, you know, the more we know a person personally, we kind of create our own perception of the way that they are. And we do that in a lot of things. So if this person is communicating to you in your mind, you already have it in your mind how to perceive that, even if it's not true. So that's why I think that for me personally, I've been doing a lot of things or taking the advice, professional advice of a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people, just,
not
you know, one or two is taking me, because you don't always connect to the first. It's okay to not connect to the first counselor that you you know, you're introduced to. So when I say a lot of people, you know, I've met a lot of them for that initial consultation. But for whatever it is, sometimes it does take that one that's going to connect to you. So for me, I connect best with those counselors that just didn't go to school.
Right.
You know, I connect better with the ones that got life experience and different things like that. But because it's a personal thing, but then from a professional side, building the rapport is a lot different. You know, when somebody's talking to you from book, they only know how to keep going. From book. You know, they know question to question to question. And then after a while, it's not genuine. Right? But if a person has gone through something, they know how to navigate through this session without it feeling like, okay, I didn't answer this question, check. I didn't answer that question, check. Okay, now let me ask this question, check. You know, and then they also get to say, you know, I've been there. And when I was going through what you were going through, this is some of the things that I did to help me. Those things make a big difference because not only are they giving you some suggestions, but you're able to receive it better because it's like, oh my God, so it must have worked. Look at you now.
So what about like now, it's 2023, when a lot of people are saying, you know, Black people don't go to therapy, when they're saying, I'm not sitting up with a stranger telling a stranger my problems, you know, I feel personally, I probably do need to go to therapy. Check that box off.
You do.
But I do. I know.
You
I do.
Really do.
I know.
You do. It really will help you. I'm glad that you said it first.
No. I know that. But I know that. But I also feel like, for the most part, the younger I was, I would take stuff just to keep a sense of peace within maybe family or, you know, different dynamics, work or whatever. I would just, you know, take it. But the older that I've gotten, I started to cut things and people out of my life for that reason. You know, like, oh, you gonna cause me some discomfort when, you know, if you're not in my four walls, then I don't really have to take with you. Like, screw you. I don't have to listen to that shit, to be honest, right? So for me, I just felt like maybe my way of being my own therapist was to remove the toxic person that was causing me the discomfort. Now, as far as talking about those things that hurt me, pissed me off, or did something to make me who I am, or why, the things that shaped me back then that could have easily been things that should have drove me to therapy, or drove me to the bottle, or drove me to being anything else. It didn't. I just learned from those. But I kind of surround myself with people who have had similar situations, like maybe have similar parents, like to kind of upbringing that I did, have a lot of similarities in their life, and their outtake was kind of the same as mine, but maybe my road was a little bit longer than their shortcut or whatever. But we kind of bond over those things. Not really, like when I met you, not realistically knowing, you know, oh my God, I like you. Like, you cool, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, the more and more you and I became close, and the more and more our friendship developed, it was like, just talking one day, that's why we fuck with each other. You know what I mean? Like, we both throw it the hell off, and we know why we throw it the hell off at this point.
You can own it. You
know what I'm saying?
Like,
you know, like, if I talk to you and I say, oh, just using this, oh, my mom, oh, she just drive me crazy, she just did X, Y, and Z. You can tell me, girl, you preaching to the choir, because you know what I'm saying? But it makes a difference. It's the connectivity to it. So for me, I feel like that was part of my therapy, but I do feel like I need to go.
I think that I personally recommend it only because I feel like sometimes, and again, I have to really say this, you really have to connect with the right one. That is really important.
That's an interview process. For you, it's for like your state of mind.
It is, because if you connect with the right one, they have the ability to like kind of get things out of you. You know, like on the surface, you might know I need to fix this. Mm-hmm. But sometimes as you're going through that process and you're in a safe space and someone is able to help you like dig into those root cause, when you learn where those root causes started from, you kind of, it ain't in the now. You're like, wait a minute, my 40-year-old self is still acting out from something that I buried when I was like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. Because whether we know it or not, or at least in my case, I can't speak for everybody. You know, it's true what they say, when you are a kid, it really does kind of mold the kind of adult you're going to be. So in my particular upbringing, some of the things that I was going through, I was in an environment at an early age. I learned the blessing and curse of suppression.
Yes.
You know, because in that moment, you learn, okay, this is just not a safe space for me to act out my feelings. This is not a safe space for me to talk about my feelings. Right. So guess what? Out of sight, out of mind. I'm just not going to talk about it. What's wrong? This is exactly why you need to talk to. This is exactly why you need to be. What's in that drink? This is exactly why it helps to speak with someone in a safe space that you really don't know, because it really does, you know. And I think that I need a drink. I guess
that was a funny one.
It's a good thing we say untamed.
Okay.
Conversations. But yeah, just getting back to the point at hand.
So, question with that, with you saying that it went like these conversations with the therapist, you go, okay, I know what's wrong with me, and I'm very well aware.
Well, you go in there cocky and confident.
Right. But I'm saying you going in there going, I know what's wrong with me. I got a bad attitude or whatever. And you thinking maybe it came from your parents divorcing.
Well, and see, and that's where they'll stop you and say, okay, well, you know what? Let's talk about that.
But my question to you was, when you went in and you finally found the right person, you know, that was going to help you navigate all of this. And it got to that point where it was like, your aha moment, right? So you thinking you this way because of this. And then you get down to the root cause, and it's something that, you know, like you said, from 5, 6, 7, you was taught to suppress, right? And you finally can identify the situation, maybe, or whatever. How was your reaction to the aha moment?
All of mine are really the same. I always tend to have my aha moment the minute I leave out of the office and I get in the car and I just reflect.
And then what you say?
You know, I just get in there, I just sit back and I say, well, damn. I didn't think about it that way. Or I might say something like, damn, just when you think you know yourself.
Right.
You know, it's like you just didn't think about it. But what I will say, it's a dangerous thing, though, because if they take you back, it's almost like being, you know, hypnotized. You know, without the hypnosis or whatever the case may be. Because in that moment, the minute you're taken there, everything that you suppress, you may not remember the nature of all those events, but you do not forget the emotion.
Ooh.
You do not forget the emotion. I might not, 5-year-old me, I probably can't say exactly what 5-year-old me was actually thinking and feeling in that moment, but I definitely, the adult in me now, I feel it. Like, I was like, okay, I was really, really sad in that moment.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I didn't let it out. I didn't act out. I didn't tell anybody. Well, it could have been a lot of reasons. I wasn't in that safe space to where I could tell anybody. Or, you know, as a man, you know, sometimes you're naturally being told, you know what, man up. You know, you can't be whining about the wrong topics. Well, this hurt my feelings. The first thing, especially like a male figure in your life, they're going to say, well, let that shit go. Like, man up. Like, that's just not something that we talk about. And the minute, those are like subliminal messages, because in that minute, your brain now, as the child, you is receiving a lesson from an adult. And that adult, you don't hear anything but man up, keep it to yourself, move on, whatever, whatever, whatever. And then now from that moment on, you do that with every situation. But here's the thing. Every bad situation that we're in, if we don't have an outlet, it never goes away. No matter how much we suppress it, the body's going to find a way. And that's where, not to get on another topic, but that's where substance abuse come in, because you got to have the outlet.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where, and I can't speak for everybody. I've never done drugs. I've never done, anything outside of that. But I know I am a drinker. And that when I'm drinking, in my mind, that puts me in a safe space. And I feel good. I'm not thinking about nothing.
Because it takes away your ability to just really hone in and just keep dwelling on.
I feel absolutely nothing but good.
And see, for me, the same way you're saying that for like men or whatever, I know for me, I'm really bad at, I don't know what, this is why I need therapy. I don't cry. My husband, 10 years, has probably seen me cry 2 to 3 times. I don't cry.
I do.
Like I you know what? If I feel it, you know what I'm saying? Like if I feel myself, and the 3 times that I cried, it wasn't like, one of them was I was in pain and really bad toothache, had to go to the hospital. But other than that, it was something that a situation that somebody else put me in. And I was more so angry. It wasn't a cry of I'm hurt because my feelings were hurt. It was because damn you for putting me in this situation, right? And then I have this same response, and I know it when it's happening. I'm crying, right? And all of a sudden I'll go, like if I'm just really, really crying, right? I'll go to myself and I'll go, stop. Like I tell myself to stop. Because I feel like it's a waste of time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Because you possibly, at the core of you or the youth in you, probably grew up at a time to where when the first moment you start crying, there's somebody right beside you say, you know what, suck it up. And I had to learn that because I do that with my kids. I don't tell them, suck it up.
I did to mine. I was like, like, did you fall? Because
even
though I was married, it was like, girl, you bleeding? No, mama. All right, and let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like we got shit to do today, right? So, but then for me, I don't believe like my mama ever said, "Suck it up," or maybe it was a situation where I just don't remember, but remember some kind of way, like you're saying. There's no time for it. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember any situation, of course. Probably more therapists can come in and make my ass remember. But I don't remember a situation where I was told to suck something up or deal with it or whatever, right? I mean, not when it refers to that kind of thing. Right. I just don't know where that comes from. Like, I just refuse. And like when my kids will know instantly if I ever call them and I'm crying, something is like really bad. Mm-hmm. Because I don't, like, I'm going to get mad. I'm going to cuss. I'm gonna fuss, be ready to fight, but I'm never just like, I don't know why. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know. I'm the opposite. Now I can shed some tears, but it's not for the traditional reasons.
Right, exactly.
Like I don't really cry when I'm sad. I don't really cry when I'm nothing but like I'm mad, I'm angry. And I'm typically ready to fight.
Right,
like,
you're angry.
Those are angry tears. But when I'm sad, I don't know. I just think because I've always been really good with, I think, listening to other people and talking to other people.
Then
about their situations. Because I can tell you right now, I can give some really great advice to other people.
Shit.
I am I'm really good at it. Like I'm really good at it.
Me too.
But I cannot really coach myself. I'm not a good mentor to myself.
But you know what? You find the advice that you give of others in situations. The reason why, because I feel like that's that same way about myself, right? You know, and we've had a situation at work where we talked to somebody, and that's like we are literally saying the same thing, and then we even spoke to the same individual individually, and they said, "Oh my God, that's what Brandon just told me." You know what I'm saying? So I feel like we've been through situations that lends itself to be able to give that really good, accurate help that someone else needs. Now, the situations that we've been in, another person can tell you how they dealt with it, their outcome. But for me, from a therapist standpoint, I don't know.
I don't necessarily say that. I'm not one of those people that's going to say, you know, a therapist can fix all of your problems. But I will say they can definitely open up and shed some light on things. They can bring that awareness of certain things in your life that you might, because we naturally get fixated on like one particular situation or, you know, one event or whatever the case may be. I think they just kind of help broaden the scope a little bit, you know?
Right.
And for me personally, it's when I'm talking to other people, mentoring them, coaching them, you know, I don't know, I'm not a really, really churchy person, but spiritually speaking, when I'm actually coaching someone, everything that I've been through is justified in that moment as to why.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do believe sometimes we go through things that we don't understand, but when we later help someone with a situation, it's in that moment where you're like, okay, this is why God put me through this. Because had I never been through this, I wouldn't be in a position to
give your
help you.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like those tests going to, you know, the testimonial side, I think was just really, I don't know, I think it just justifies it. But I will say that I'm not going to make anybody feel like, okay, going to therapy, let me tell you, going to therapy is may or may not fix all of your problems. But what I will say is it definitely does help shed some light on things. It definitely helps you become more aware. And then from that, the adult you now, you have some decisions to make. You can decide, you know, what do you want to do with this feedback? You know, you can be defensive if you want to and just say, oh, he or she don't know what she's necessarily talking about. Or you can just take the advice and just figure out which areas of your life that you want to apply it to and go from there. Move at your own pace. Don't necessarily let anybody force you.
Right.
You know, you move at your own pace in your own time and you figure out what works for you. I like to write now in journals and things like that. I know, you know, girls have diaries, well, men have journals. And I think it works. If you can't tell somebody what you're going through, write it out. But here's the thing, when you write it out, reread it. So that way it's kind of, you're talking to yourself. And it's going to sound crazy, but it definitely worked because now as you're reading your thoughts out loud, you get to navigate through this and say, okay, this is not a big deal. And then you get to highlight, okay, this is really a big deal. How do I want to fix this?
Right.
And then you carry on and you do whatever you do. And then as you put more emphasis on that, you know, it can kind of take you away from some of those bad habits. Like I drink less, you know. Despite me having a cocktail now, but I was drinking like hard, looking like taking shots, you know, and you know,
I ain't no snitch. I ain't no snitch.
It got really, really bad, you know, but you know, that's another topic for another day. But hey, look at me now. I still look good.
Amen.
I'm still alive despite, you know, where I could be. So I don't know.
Therapy.
This was therapeutic because now I'm feeling something that I didn't want to feel. Oh. But I feel good though.
Okay.
I don't want to run to the bottle.
Well, let's cheers.
This is not the bottle though. This is more of a toast and a little.
Yeah.
Technically, you don't know if it's lemonade because this actually looks like an Arnold Palmer.
Absolutely.
You know it does.
What is it? An Arnold Palmer.
There it is. I think this is tea and lemonade.
And therapy. In our therapy section.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Untamed Conversations. We will post weekly every Sunday at 10 a.m.
Every Sunday at 10.
We have Instagram under the same name, Facebook.
Coming. Facebook has been my challenge because they keep, I guess you can say, giving me pushback on the name that I'm using, but it's okay. We still
It's the creator. And then we also have TikTok as well. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all social media platforms.
And give feedback.
Yep. Give us feedback. Leave a comment. Tell us what you want to hear from us. See you next week.
I'm going to drink to that.
Right?
Live your life within the moment.